Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today. So we're going to do our next Prima princess, which is Alexis, and we're going to be using the Color Burst powders and the Zig watercolor markers. So we're going to do a combination of both. So I just grabbed my Misty and I'm going to ink up the stamp using the VersaFine Black Onyx ink, and we're going to stamp her a few times so that we get a nice crisp black. And I find, when I'm doing my videos and I'm in my craft room, I do a lot of sitting down. So sometimes it takes a little bit more because the pressure, like I'm not standing up to put down my weight onto the Misty to get a nice even, I guess you would say like a pressing. So it takes sometimes a couple of passes, but that's the best part about the Misty is that you can keep doing it, until you get the darkness that you're trying to get. So I'm going to tape down our image here using some washi tape, and I'm just leaving a slight of a, like, not even a quarter of an inch, like an eighth of an inch on each side, because this is actually 5x7 paper that I'm using, and I just wanted to make sure that I could trim it down and not have to worry about coloring around all the edges. It'll be trimmed eventually. So we're just going to color in the skin using the Zig markers. Her hair, we'll use the Zig markers, and then we'll go to the flowers and the background using the Color Burst by Ken Oliver. Okay, so I'm gonna let this play for a little bit, and I'll be back when we get to the Color Burst. Okay, so right here I'm just tapping a little bit of the Color Burst, and I'm adding water so that way in my shadows I have a nice dark purple, and then using the water brush I just thinned it out a little bit more so that way it'll give us a little bit of interest. And that's the best part about watercoloring, is that you can do layers, you know what I mean? So anywhere where you want it to be darker than others, just let it dry for a little bit and then add a little bit more color. And I'm just going to clean off real quick. And I did the dress and I realized, oh, I gotta do the hair, because I wanted to have the hair done before I started coloring the flowers. So I'm just laying down the lightest color, the highlight it would be, and then I'm going to take the shadow and I'm going to put it in and then try and pull the color using the water brush. And the best part with these, and like many other stamps, is the highlights or the shadows are usually marked out with the ink, the actual stamp design that they have. So if you follow those lines, you'll be able to create your shadows and stuff like that and give it a little bit of interest without you having to do too much. So we're just filling in, making sure to get the shadows in where they need to go. And then after that, we're going to go back to using the Color Burst. Okay, so just make sure you notice, see, I'm just doing a light tap, add some water. And anytime where I have too much water and it's making it too light, I just tap a little bit more of the powder and then grab directly from the powder itself. And then eventually, using it and wetting the area, it will blend into the other color, but it'll still give me a chance to do some shadows or darker colors and then lighter. So anywhere where there's a leaf, we're just going to color in the green, and then we're going to keep going. So I'm going to let the music play while we finish coloring in this really pretty stamp set. Now right here I was thinking I could be done, but there was one color I didn't really play with, which was the blue. And I just kept thinking, you know what? Let's go ahead and go around the image, because with watercolor sometimes it does go outside the line, especially when you don't emboss it. So I figured doing the blue outline will cover some of those spots where it bled a little bit and give it a nice finished look. And anywhere I put down too much ink or too much water, I just use my towel to pick up the liquid. So we're just going to go ahead and lay down the color. Being careful, because on some, with any watercolors, most of the time if you wet them again, they basically reactivate. So you just have to be careful, because you don't want to have all your colors start bleeding into each other. Alright, so now that it's, all on, I take the heat tool to dry my paper. And I just want to help it along. I didn't over wet anything, but with doing the background, I just wanted to make sure everything was dry. And right there, I'm just hitting some of the areas underneath the flower to make sure that all the shadows and all the darker areas are colored in. And then I heat that area again, making sure it's dry. And then we're just going to pull up the washi tape. And even though this video, it's very fast, but when I did it in actual time, I did slow it down because I didn't want to tear my paper. So here we have some close-ups of the finished project. These are really fun stamps, these princess stamps, and you can make them into cards, just add a sentiment on the front, and it makes for a really beautiful gift. So thank you guys for joining me. Thank you. Please hit, the like, subscribe, and share button. And at the end of this video, I will have 2 videos, which are the last 2 princess stamps that we've done, okay? So thanks again, you guys, and have a great day.